Welcome back in, everybody, to Between the Ears. This is the final episode of the week. We will have no post-game show tomorrow for the basketball game, but we will have the game preview on the Walkthrough Game Day show for West Virginia, North Carolina, the bowl game. But today we're going to take a small peek at that bowl game here with Chris, as we do every week for West Virginia football. It is our keys to the game, or how West Virginia beats said opponent. So today we're talking North Carolina and those Tar Heels that may or may not want to be in this bowl game. So, Chris, let's just start off with the elephant in the room. There's a lot of people that are not playing in this game, most notably Drake May, Tez Walker, Corey Gaynor, their starting center. A lot of key pieces out. So, on the offensive side of the ball for Carolina, what can you even expect from them? And secondly, how do you even prepare for them?
That's kind of the question everyone wants to know, right? Even Neil Brown at this point. I think he said he expects not a lot of changes uh, within the offense. And I mean, when you're doing bowl prep, um, how much can you change? How much has that offense? How much of that offense uh, can they really use with this quarterback? It's a freshman quarterback. He's a big kid. He's a dual threat. So I think you just kind of prepare for that. It's nothing that West Virginia hasn't seen this season when you look at the Big 12 schedule. But the unknown is always scary, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't know exactly what he can do. You know he's
This kid
talented.
could be the next
Uh,
great quarterback.
right.
First one to
So
see him.
to me, it's like you know what you're getting with Drake May, but you don't know what you're getting with this kid, and you don't know what you're getting on the outside. Like you mentioned, Tez Walker's out. I believe all their tight ends are out of the
At
bowl
least their
game
top
as
two
well.
are, yeah.
Yeah, so it really is like, all right, well, who do you have? So,
Amari and
but
Hampton. That's about it.
and Neil Brown made a good point. Like this is an opportunity for all these young kids to get to play a significant role this season. So I'm sure they're ready to go out and ball out. You know,
Yeah.
they're underdogs. They want to go prove that hey, just because these guys are gone doesn't mean that we can't play. So and you can kind of look at that from the West Virginia perspective as well. So it to me is it's I'm way more concerned because I know we talked about it yesterday. You know, West Virginia doesn't handle success well in every sport, and it seems to me every time that the fan base is confident that they're going to win, and that's kind of what you hear on social media. It's kind of our barometer right now is social media. Um, it's a concern for me. Anytime a team's overly confident, it's a concern. So they have to go play. They have to be at their top, you know, play at the best of their abilities if they're going to go knock off North Carolina because North Carolina's done well in recruiting. This isn't a team that you know, Mac Brown's been around for a while. He knows how to coach and he's going to scheme up something on the defensive end, even though they're missing a lot of pieces. I know we're getting to that, but offensively as well as too. Like this kid's a talented quarterback. He hasn't had the reps yet, but I'm sure he's eager to show that it's because Drake May is not there. The future's bright.
Yeah, and Max Johnson, the two-time transfer now, he's coming to Carolina next year. They just got him in the transfer portal about a week or two ago. So this could be Harold thinking, well, this is my audition before he even gets to come to campus and play in a game, and this is my opportunity to show that this is my job. And because I mean, look, he's young, he's got multiple years. Johnson has 1 year left. That's not to say that he could win this battle for 24 in a bowl game, but first impressions mean a lot. And I think if he goes out there and plays well, he's going to have a chance to keep that job going into the spring. So going to outside of Harrell for just a minute, obviously Amari and Hampton is the guy to watch. I would assume, right? I mean, he is their bell cow. He is one of the best running backs in the country. Do you feel like that's what they're going to have to do in this game is just turn around and hand him the ball 25, 30 times, or do you feel like there's going to be some sort of a balance?
You're going to have some kind of balance. I know everyone, you know, you kind of look at what Ollie Gordon did to West Virginia in the fourth quarter, but that was set up by Alan Bowman. And if you go back and watch that game, Alan Bowman, it's probably the best game of his career.
Yeah, he
What he
played
was able
freaking
to
phenomenal.
where he was placing the ball. I mean, the guys were covered, but he was just putting it in like the perfect spot. Like
Yep.
those were just all time throws. Again, it was probably the best game of his career when you go back and watch that film. It's just unfortunate it had to happen against West Virginia. That's what really opened up the running game for Gordon. I mean, what do you do when the kid's just throwing dimes down the sideline right over the shoulder, where Beanie was on that guy a lot of times, and it just he didn't have a chance to get to the ball. So yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to Harrell having to make throws, but you assume that they're going to lean on the running game with Hampton, and Harrell's going to probably, they're going to do a lot of read option, and he's more than capable of keeping the ball and getting upfield. So, yeah, I'm assuming they're going to lean on Hampton a lot. But at the same time, can North Carolina overthink it and say, look, they're going to key on Hampton. We're going to have to go out and throw the ball, and you can almost put yourself in a bad spot by putting too much on Harrell. So that's where these guys make their money. It'll be interesting to see, obviously we're not going to get to go watch North Carolina practice, see how Harrell's kind of handling the pass game, but I'm sure a lot of it has to do how he looks in practice and how they scheme this thing, if he's capable of making the throws. And of course you have to have the receivers there. And you just mentioned Tez being out, and he only played, I believe, 8 games. Was it 8 games he played, and he led the
Around
team
there.
led the team in receiving. So yeah, I think so much of it's depending on Harrow. I'm sure again they're probably going to lean on Hampton quite a bit, but if he can't make the throws, it makes it easier on the defense. But we've kind of talked about the deficiencies of the defense, and this will be a good time for like Ben Cutter, who kind of was thrust into the position. They're young at linebacker. Can they hold up? I know they have some guys out on the offensive line, but again, we've talked about how they've done in recruiting. So it really is, you kind of look at it because the success of the running game the other Big 12 opponents had against West Virginia in the running game, so much was that dependent on the passing game. So if they're able to load the box and feel that Beanie can kind of lock down their top guy and get some good play out of the safeties, I don't think they have the obviously they're not going to have the mismatch the way Oklahoma did, but well, can they spread it out? Does Harrell have the arm to be able to go sideline to sideline? That yet to be determined. I think so much of it is depending on what Harrell can do in the passing game to be able to open it up. And then again, um, West Virginia could load the box and they could still have success. So he's a heck of a running back, but I think a lot of that obviously had to do with what Drake May could do in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, and I think what's not being talked about enough is the absences on West Virginia's defense, because I assume the guy, I mean, Mike Lockhart, he's going to SMU. You've got some secondary guys that are not going to be in there because they're in the portal. And some of them are depth guys. Some of them have not played or not played much, but that's still a lot of depth that you're missing. If you have an injury or two throughout the course of the next week in practice or in the bowl game, you're really going to be up against it. So I really want to know what you feel about how this defense is constructed going into the bowl, considering that they've lost some pieces.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how they scheme up because we talked about on a recruiting show that they've been wanting to get versatile and they have been able
Yeah.
to be versatile. Um, Scheme wise, you think they're going to kind of be the same, but do they put an extra maybe linebacker in there?
Hershey McLaurin is a big loss that no one really thinks about.
Absolutely. So it's, not having the tight ends in there may help, but you just don't know who they're going to step up and who they're going to scheme. I would assume they're going to make Harrell beat him with the arm, but you can almost key too much on that, in a sense, in the running game because of the read option. If you crash down in and guys don't stay in their lanes, he could have a big day on the ground. So I think so much of it is just stay in your lane. They struggle with that. You can go back to Oklahoma State when um, they had the success in the fourth quarter in the running game. A lot of it was just guys trying to make plays and getting out of position,
Yeah.
and really opened up things for him. So much of it is just going to be about discipline and not overplaying. If they have success early, do they remain disciplined? Do guys not get out of position by trying to make a play? So for so much of it, it's just going to be discipline. Stay in your lane and just know your keys. And that's where AB is going to have uh, a big part of that plan in the back end is recognizing what's going on in the slot and in the tight end if they even are able to use any tight ends. So it really is just kind of wait and see, and I think that's kind of how they're going to have to play it. We've seen them kind of just come in a base and then adjust on the fly, and then that's really where you're going to have to put a lot of it on the offense.
Spinning the block, West Virginia's offense obviously going to be without CJ Donaldson and Zach Frazier. I don't get the sense that this is going to be an offense that looks completely different without those two guys because Jaheim White, he took over those last two games against Cincinnati and Baylor and did an exceptional job, ran for over 300 some yards. So we know he can handle the workload. And we saw Brandon Yates step in that final drive for Zach Frazier on short notice and performed perfect. So I don't think there's concern really either of those two spots, especially when you look at North Carolina's defense, which has been suspect to say the least in every facet. But I was talking to Eugene a little bit earlier ago, and we kind of agree that this might be a game where you see Garrett Green take a lot of shots down the field. This has the feeling of an up and down type of game for both teams because you don't really know what you're getting out of Carolina. You think they're going to go and lean on the run game, but they may come out and just let the kid throw the ball. And that could be the case. And I think with Garrett Green, you're looking at this situation and say, look, I've got these young freshmen that are playing well. They're starting to get into their rhythm. You're going up against a very average, below average defense. You feel good about your chances throwing the ball deep. What do you think about them throwing the ball downfield more?
Yeah, I mean they're going to be missing their leading, the guy that leads the team in interceptions. I think you got to be careful a little bit, because if you miss it, you do it on first down, it's 2nd and 10 already.
Yeah,
Probably the worst situation you do is if
you
you
got to
get the
pick your
ball and
spots.
you start off 3 and out. You want to make them uncomfortable, but I think you have to go with what you have in success and just move the ball down the field. But they can, they'll, do you want to be up in an up and down game? Probably not. But I think a lot of it has to do with the defense. I mean, Jaheim White could just bust off 50-yard runs for
Yeah,
touchdowns. You
you're
just don't
throwing
really,
the defense back out there.
yeah, so you really don't know. Again, you don't really, they're losing their leading tackler. They're missing a lot of key pieces on North Carolina. So I think if you're West Virginia, you kind of want that blend, right? Of what they had at the beginning of the year, where you can control the clock, but at the same time, you just need to finish drives. You don't want to be conservative and not throw the ball deep because you're worried about your defense. But you have to make the most of your opportunities offense and just finish drives. And I think that's the most important key. And with Garrett, if it does become a back and forth game, just don't press, don't force things, just continue to play within the offense. And I think that's really where they're at. I'm still concerned with the receivers. Um, it's been known that they can't get off press coverage, but does North Carolina have the athletes to be able to do that? There's a good chance that they do. Um, Even though they haven't had, you know, a great season defensively, they still have talent, and they may be again. They've had 12 games to kind of look at West Virginia and see their weaknesses and kind of, can they force West Virginia into bad situations in 3rd and longs? Probably. CJ Donaldson was somebody that could fall forward for 3 or 4 yards and get you a second and manageable and 3rd and short. So it's not a big task for the offense. There's plenty of guys. I think with their linebackers that are out, you can really utilize Cole Taylor over the middle and really kind of work the slot a lot, especially with Devin Carter. He moved over to slot, so he can also work the middle. So I think if you work both seams, it'll really open up things on the outside for Hudson Clement, or why is he the other freshman? Between him and Trey Lathan, I get those guys
Traylon
confused.
Ray.
Traylon Ray, I get those guys confused way too often. Um, but yeah, Traylon Ray, I mean, he's done such a phenomenal job of selling things to get open that, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you take your shots downfield with him? So I think they have the tools. Um, can North Carolina match it? That's, on paper, probably not. But I don't think you want to be overly aggressive and just keep putting up points because at the same time, how's your defense handling their offense? Again, we don't know what Harold's capable of doing, but they also have a really good running back who can break off big runs too. And I think that's like the worst possible scenario for West Virginia is where it can get chaotic. They haven't handled that at the best throughout the season. Is that a step that they take forward during a bowl game? Maybe, but I think you have to go with what you know, control the clock, run the ball, and just kind of pick your spots in the passing game. Just finish the drives, make the most of your drives, and put the points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, I think an opportunity to take those shots deep, but I do kind of agree that you want to lean on what's been successful. You don't want to just start getting cute just for the sake of it, and just because it's a bowl game that isn't a New Year's Six or a college football playoff game. I think you still want to be able to find a way to win the game, and you got to do what got you to this point. To end, I feel like I know your answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. One guy that you're excited to watch in the bowl game that maybe hasn't got a whole lot of playing time yet.
You already know it's DJ Oliver.
Dang it. I
Oh, it
knew it.
wasn't DJ Oliver. Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely
That's
want
what
to
I
see
thought.
DJ. I was excited about him when he signed. They've been high on him, saw him in fall camp, break out some runs. Just kind of see where interested Perez. It doesn't mean he's going to play. I'm sure he might get some carries and an opportunity. But also like to see Jalen Anderson. It seems like he had that drop for an interception. Really haven't seen a lot of them since then. Of course,
You know his last play? Do you remember
huh?
what his last play is?
Was it the interception, dropped interception?
No, it was another botched play. It was the lateral at UCF where he missed the pitch.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm interested to see if he gets some playing time. I know there's probably rumors that he might be entering the portal or whatever, but seeing if he maybe get a chance on the up in the game. But outside of that, I think we kind of know everybody on the receivers
Yeah,
as far as receivers go. But yeah, I want to see Data Oliver. He's big, he's fast. I don't want to say he's going to take the place of CJ Donaldson. That seems ridiculous, but he is a big kid that can get you those short yardage situations.
he can take his place for this game, right? Because
As
CJ
far as maybe
playing.
the short yardage, but we
Yeah,
haven't really got to see him run in a game. So it's different when you're in practice and CJ Donaldson was kind of uh, slow, a step behind the beginning of the year because there was just so much thrown out in the offseason. He was thinking too much. And DJ Oliver get to that point, in fall camp, he was just running, but he had a lot to kind of consume as far as what they expect from the offense, from the running backs in the offense. So kind of curious to see how he's handled it this season, throughout the season, and see where he's at, pass protection, the whole 9 yards. Because if he's kind of picked it all up, then you feel really good about your running back room going in next year.
yeah. It'll be a lot of fun down here in Charlotte. Chris will be spending a couple of nights after Christmas as my neighbor, so we'll have a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll have some memories and some stories to tell for sure. So, West Virginia, North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, December 27th at Bank of America Stadium. Kickoff set for 5:30 p.m. So, West Virginia looking to get to win number 9, something they haven't been able to do since 2016. Is that right? So it's been a while since they've seen this kind of success. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get that mark and take that momentum into the offseason. So again, no between ears for the rest of the week. We are done here. No post game show tomorrow for the Toledo basketball game, but we will have the walkthrough game day show breaking down the matchup once again a little bit more from a different perspective from Eugene Napoleon, and we'll see what next week holds for everybody. So for Christopher Hall, I'm Schuyler Callihan. You've been watching Between the Ears. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a like on YouTube at Mountaineers Now, and give us a follow on X at the same handle. Have a good weekend and Merry Christmas, everyone.